Hello everybody. I hope all of you are safe at your home as we are going through a very tough time all over the world, and I wish that every one of us comes out safely, healthy out of this crisis. And as you can see, the whole world is responding to the crisis of this pandemic, and there's a very challenging aspect for the communication networks in this whole scenario as well. As you can see that majority of the countries like US, UK, Australia, and even India, a country of 1.3 billion, has gone into complete lockdown. We can see countries across Middle East, we have seen countries across Europe, Italy, Spain, Germany going into complete lockdowns. And this has posed a significant challenge, a new challenge to the communication networks. And the challenge is the capacity, the user profile, the area profile, and the lack of resources to do anything at the moment in terms of deployment. So we will look at the challenges currently being faced by the communication networks, because they hold a very important key in managing this pandemic, in managing this whole unprecedented situation, and how we can basically improve our networks around this whole crisis. So let's see what are the challenges and how we can basically improve the performance of the network in these very tough times. So the first challenge that we are facing is the capacity, the throughput. As you can see that the majority of the world is in complete lockdown. People are in their home, working from home. Students are at home using e-distance learning. University students are at home using e-distance learning. And majority of these services are streaming services. So what's going on? This will cause an immense stress on the communication networks in terms of capacity. And not to forget, all of us streaming Netflix while we are at home and we have nothing more useful to do. Similarly, kids going onto the TV, onto the streaming services. We have seen unprecedented traffic on Netflix, on Disney, and as some of you would have known, in Netflix Australia, they are trying to compress the data to improve the network capacity. So capacity is one of the biggest challenge right now for the communication networks. Number two is, which is more of a technical aspect, is the user profile. In this pandemic, the user profile has completely changed. For example, if you had dimensioned and planned your network for example, in the CBD, for example, in the Sydney CBD is almost empty now. If you had planned your network for London CBD or the New York City CBD, all of them are empty. There is no user traffic. There is almost negligible user traffic, and all of the traffic has shifted to the suburbs. So now we have a suburban user profile, which the guy which is working from home, a student which is studying from home, a kid who's watching Disney, as my son watches Frozen and other stuff. So the user profile has completely changed, and therefore the traffic pattern will also change. A second aspect is your area profile. Previously, the network is dimensioned for your busy areas, for example, your CBD, the traffic being generated in busy hours, and in the evenings, basically your traffic coming from your suburban areas or densely suburban areas. And we plan our network like that in different clusters. Now the traffic has mostly shifted to your suburban areas. So your area profile has completely changed. If we had our network dimensioned in terms of capacity for CBD, if we have our hotspots, LTE hotspots, now 5G hotspots in the CBD area, now we have majority of the traffic coming from our suburban areas. And if you have access to network traffic it will be one of the amazing, you can say, looks in terms of data, that how your graph shifts from your CBD traffic to your suburban traffic. So that is your change in your area profile, and then the change in your traffic profile. So when people are working from home, or majority of the workplaces are closed, we have very less best effort traffic. For example, browsing, email, pop email, and stuff like that. And the majority of the traffic right now is streaming traffic. For example, your Netflix, your e-distance learning solutions, etc., etc. And therefore, the quality of service in terms of communication networks, this will be a huge challenge, because QoS for streaming services puts far more stress on your communication networks other than your best effort traffic. And the fourth issue is your resources, because as you've seen in many other countries, in US, in UK, in Australia, I will talk about Australia as it is local for me. We have a distancing rule. So we have 4 meter square distancing rule right now in Australia, and that causes a huge stress to have resources to provide your deployment for your issue rectification services, and etc. And this is also an issue that the telco side will need to cater for in the coming months. And another important thing which the telco needs to do is to coordinate with the government authorities in order to estimate how long this pandemic might go, because if it goes into 12-month region, 18-month region, then the whole traffic modeling, whole network modeling will have to be adjusted and will have to be catered for in terms of the new traffic patterns. And what the networks may be able to do is that in 1 to 2 months time, they can run some really good modeling for the new traffic patterns, and then they can decide that if they want to increase some capacity, if they want to divert some resources in terms of the 5G deployment, because the 5G deployment was currently ongoing in many areas and depends on the user profile, on the traffic profile, and on the area profile. But now, as the area profile and the traffic profile have drastically changed, we probably would need to adjust some of the investments in some of the other areas. And then, of course, as the pandemic hopefully ends, then the investments will have to be moved around. So in terms of remedies, what the networks can do is, that is basically, first of all, to change their network topologies in terms of where they are trying to hold their capacity, how they are trying to provide capacity to the users, and the users themselves can also play a part in this. If for example, you have fixed line internet at your home, and you also have your cellular mobile network at your home, you can basically distribute the traffic on both of them. You can use your Netflix on one of the network, you can work from home on the other network, avoiding to choke one of any of the networks, so that our people, all the people, can use the network without any problems. The bottom line in this pandemic is that we have to fight it together. In terms of telco as well, we have to fight it together. We have to use the internet speed intelligently, smartly, and the network providers, they also need to act very quickly in order to provide essential services, essential communication services to the users. Because one thing is for sure, that in this whole pandemic, one thing which will remain operational is communication networks, and we need to ensure that the connectivity remains provided to all of the population all around the world. I hope all of you remain safe, all of you remain healthy, and stay home, stay safe, and follow the guidelines. Whichever region you are, whichever country you are, we need to fight this together. We need to be healthy together, and we need to take care of everybody around us. Thank you. and I hope to see you in our next video. Thank you so much.